Guess what? The Avs aren't dead. They were like a minute away from being dead. The Avs were a minute away from losing a game they had no business losing because Mike Smith was in the process of stealing it. And Grubauer looked like he was frustrated that he was playing well and they didn't have the lead. They were playing well and didn't have the lead either. First period, the shots are 50-10 for Colorado. They get 3 power plays, come up with nothing. Calgary gets 2 power plays in that period. They come up with nothing as well. So coming out of the first period, if you're Calgary, you're like, all right, you just have to have a good second, third period. We're good. It's tied after 1. Second period, Nieto scores shorthanded. So that makes things a little awkward. Colorado goes up. They get themselves a lead. The first lead they've had in the series. The first goal they've had in the series. And you get the feeling this is a different Colorado Avalanche team than the one that got embarrassed in Game 1. Anderson then scores on the power play. That's Rasmus Anderson's first. Bennett and Brody with the assists. And Sam Bennett might have had the game of his career tonight as far as I'm concerned. This was why he was drafted so early by Calgary. It's 1-1 after 2. Shots are 12-10 for Colorado. Colorado 0 for 1 on their power play. Calgary 1 for 1 on theirs, but they also allow the shorthanded goal. So it's kind of a saw-off there. And third period, again, I'm kind of figuring, well, Calgary should come through and win this. It's a home game. They've got the crowd behind them. And this isn't an anti-Colorado. It's just this is a game Calgary should win. These are the games they've been winning all year. Third period is their period, right? They've been, putting teams away in the third period, coming back from behind in the third period. My only concern with Calgary going into these playoffs would be the fact that they had to come from behind so many times, and it is much harder to have come from behind victories in the playoffs. But they were victimized tonight. Monahan scores from Bennett and Goudreau, and it looked like that was a big goal for Monahan, and for that line in general to really get things going. So Bennett being on that line is definitely benefiting him, and he gets 2 assists on the night. I don't expect that line to get broken up during this series. Bennett also brings, obviously, a more physical edge than Lindholm would to that line. So that's a benefit as well. And with that mustache, how can you not have it on the first line? I mean, come on, really. That kid's mustache is fantastic. He should give Patrick Laine some pointers on how to get the facial hair to not look so patchy and werewolf-manny. Anyways, so I'm figuring, all right, this game's going to end, and it's going to end at a decent time. No. JT Compher scores from Landeskog and Rantanen. And honestly, I said out loud, stupid Avalanche. Not because they scored, but because I knew it was going to overtime. And there's a full intermission in between the third period and overtime. And I wanted to see, we've been watching the show Sex Education, and we're on the final episode, and I wanted to watch it before I went to bed tonight. And I thought, if this game's just over in 60 minutes, I can watch it, go to bed at a decent time, get up for 9 o'clock in the morning to watch Pittsburgh and the Islanders, and I'm set. And then stupid Avalanche score. Now, going in overtime, I'm like, okay, all right, maybe it'll be over quick. We get the longest overtime of the playoffs. Stupid Avalanche. And again, I mean that in the nicest form possible. I didn't curse and swear. I was exasperated because, again, it's a long day when the games start at noon and they end at 10:30 my time. McKinnon does put me out of my misery, but creates some misery for the Red Mile and for Calgary fans, and they looked pretty upset after this game, and rightfully so, because Grubauer had just robbed them at the other end of the ice. And it looked like Calgary was going to win this one. Calgary had control of overtime, as they had not had control of the first, second, and for parts of the third. Rantanen and Cole get the assists on this goal that really seemed to come out of nowhere. This was the RKO against the Flames in this one. 8:27 of overtime, so it is the longest overtime game so far in the playoffs. We still have not had a marathon game. This one looked like it could head towards marathon status. About 5 minutes in, I'm like, I know this game. This could be the marathon game. The shots were 7-2 for Calgary in the overtime. That's the only period of hockey they led in shots. They were 10-10 in the third. Calgary was unable to score on 2 power plays, and in the overtime they had the only power play. Failed to score on it. So they do go 1 for 5 in the game. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is it's supposed to be, yeah, whatever. They were 1 for 5, so I've got an extra one in there somewhere. You guys know what I mean. I think it was just 1 in the third. Yeah, I think it was just 1 in the third. I think they had 4 going into the overtime and 5 including the overtime. Doesn't really matter. I'm fixing something that doesn't make a difference because Colorado won. Grubauer saved 35 out of 37. Absolutely fantastic game for him. McKinnon was interviewed after the game and mentioned Grubauer was sporting a .960 save percentage down the stretch. Probably watches my videos. Welcome to the show there, McKinnon. Good to see you watch my videos. Because for the last few weeks I was talking about goaltenders now they were playing over the last 10 games. So either he watches my videos or he has access to the internet. Could be either thing. Mike Smith, 36 saves on 39 shots. I thought he played very well. He does allow the tying goal. He does allow the overtime goal. You know what? He's still playing in Game 3. They're not going to Riddick yet. If they have a rough night in Colorado, they would go to Riddick for Game 4. That's a worst-case scenario. Now Calgary needs to go on the road, and Colorado has struggled at home, so Calgary needs to jump on them early. But that's on Monday. For now, there's this done. And for people keeping track at home, or for people curious, through 2 games in every series, home teams are 8-8. Columbus, Washington, New York, the Islanders, and St. Louis are all up 2-0. 2 of those teams are road teams. 2 of the teams are home teams. The Pacific, both series are 1-1. Central, Nashville tied theirs. St. Louis is up 2-0. In the Metro, it looks like they want to hurry. Both series are at 2-0. And in the Atlantic, Columbus up 2-0. And Toronto and Boston, of course, locked up 1-1. So there you go. You guys are all up to date on where we're at in the playoffs. We start Game 3s tomorrow. I'm excited about that. The preview's already up on the channel for tomorrow's games because I anticipated the Calgary game ending in 3 periods. But hey, the playoffs worked that way, and at least it was done in the first overtime, right? So congratulations to the Avalanche, and I don't really mean that they're stupid. They're victorious, and they're 15 wins away from a Stanley Cup. That's kind of how I'm measuring it this year, and at some point, probably in the second round, I'll have some kind of a countdown. I'll use my mini magnets to kind of show who's got how many wins left to go to the Stanley Cup and all that fun stuff. So there you go. Thank you guys so much for all your support. Thank you so much for watching. The explosive growth on the channel is kind of intimidating, to be honest. And I feel honored to see it happening. I will talk to you guys again in the morning. Remember, the way I did the reviews today, I plan to do that tomorrow as well. Thank you guys for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon.